The entertainment just kept on coming. Man City and Tottenham, Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho head to head. For marvellous Man City, what more could be said?
Jesus, Gundogan, penalty. Paul Tierney allowed himself a heartbeat and then pointed at the spot. He got a hand to it but couldn't keep it out, and Rodri establishes a lead for Manchester City. And Gundogan has such a good goal. He squeezed it in at the near post. Gundogan, he sat down Sanchez and he scored again. The guy can do no wrong. Sweet 16, hugely sweet for Pep Guardiola. 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League, 23 games unbeaten. Jose and Spurs had no answer. Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
At the Emirates, the returning Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang inspired Arsenal to a convincing 4-2 victory over Leeds United. The Gabon international all smiles following his maiden Premier League hat-trick. January deadline day signing Josh Maja made the perfect start to life at his new club, scoring a brace as Fulham boosted their survival hopes with a deserved 2-0 win away to Everton. Another home defeat for the Merseyside Blues. Manchester City won 3-1 at Goodison Park and became the first team in English top-flight history to win their opening 10 games in a calendar year. Following the match, Everton manager Carlo Ancelotti admitted it was almost impossible for anyone to challenge City. Pep Guardiola's men were looking unstoppable.
JKLM. M for Merseyside. A derby like no other. A city separated by red and blue. Less than a mile between Goodison and Anfield too.
It's obviously one of the biggest derbies in world football. I think everyone across the country and the world enjoys watching it. You know, and it's nobody needs telling how big of a game it is and how much it means for everyone at the club and, you know, everyone across the city.
This is fiddled through for Richarlison! Staggering start in front of the vacant Kop. Everton snatched the lead at Anfield.
I bet you didn't see that coming. Or maybe you did. After all, Everton couldn't ask for a better time to play the crumbling champions. Liverpool's luck summed up when Jordan Henderson pulled up with a groin injury before the Toffees were awarded a penalty and a sweet chance of doubling their Anfield lead.
This is a generational kick of the ball. And Sigurdsson has scored for Everton. And maybe paving the way to blue history.
The full-time whistle, blue history made. For the first time in this century, Everton had won at Anfield. But for the Reds, nowhere to look. 1, 2, 3, 4 home defeats in a row. Liverpool 0, Everton 2, Merseyside blue.
West Ham accelerated their unlikely charge for Champions League qualification by beating Tottenham 2-1 and taking 4th place. On loan, Jesse Lingard scored his 3rd goal in 4 matches as the Hammers avenged back-to-back defeats by Spurs last season. Manchester United moved back up to 2nd thanks to a 3-1 victory over Newcastle. They still had some hope of catching the runaway leaders. Defeat left the Magpies just 3 points clear of the drop zone, increasing the pressure on Steve Bruce. The awful run of 4 consecutive league defeats for Liverpool ended with a 2-0 triumph over Sheffield United, the Blades seemingly destined for a return to the Championship. That win for Jurgen Klopp's men moved the Reds to within just 2 points of 4th-placed West Ham. February, though, belonged to Manchester City, who'd won 20 consecutive games in all competitions. They ended the month with a 12-point lead. Fulham's resurgence meant Scott Parker's side were only 3 points away from safety. A disastrous period for Brighton and Newcastle left both looking over their shoulder in the battle to avoid the drop.
The start of a new month saw Manchester City close in on the Premier League title, sweeping aside Wolves 4-1. Pep's men extended their lead at the top to 15 points and their winning run to 21 games in all competitions. Liverpool had no answers against reinvigorated Chelsea, losing on their own soil for the 5th Premier League match running. Jurgen Klopp undone by a head coach who'd settled himself in very nicely. Tuchel's Blues still unbeaten. No prizes for guessing that James Ward-Prowse took his opportunity to help Southampton to a First League win in 10. For Chris Wilder, the final straw. Sheffield United's 2-0 defeat spelt the end of his 5 years in charge of his boyhood club, with the Blades rock bottom and 12 points from safety. A sad final chapter for a previously uplifting story. Leicester came from behind at Brighton to move into second place and left the Seagulls looking over their shoulder. Graham Potter's side were now just 3 points above the relegation zone. That gap disappeared completely the following day when Fulham became the latest to make hay on a trip to Merseyside. A 1-0 win filled Scott Parker's side with fresh belief for the run-in, as goal difference alone kept them in the bottom 3. Liverpool's 6th successive home defeat meant the Reds would have to relaunch their top 4 bid from 8th position.
Manchester, England. The Premier League trophy gone and on its way to the team that would lift it come May. 21 games in a row, Man City came out victorious. Charging towards the title, truly, they looked glorious. But if there was one side that could get the better of Pep's men, for Solskjaer and United, it was not a case of if, but when.
Here is Anthony Martial in red. He has tumbled. It's a penalty in 33 seconds. Remember, 19 Premier League games without trailing Manchester City. They have not been behind for months. It's Bruno Fernandes. United lead on City territory in no time at all. Here's Shaw. Rashford. And Luke Shaw, 2-0 United. Red bolt against the Blues. And from an entirely improbable source, Manchester United 2 to the good.
Pep's lead only 11 when it could have been 15, a bump in the road for this well-oiled machine. City's 2-0 defeat might only delay the inevitable, but for United this win was rather incredible. The City turned red, but the title may still be blue. City 0, United 2.
Chelsea cemented their top 4 place on the Monday night with a 2-0 win over Everton, stretching Thomas Tuchel's unbeaten start to 11 games in all competitions. Later that evening, West Ham kept pace with the leading pack. Though Jesse Lingard needed 2 attempts to get the better of Illan Meslier, Leeds couldn't avoid a 5th defeat in 7 games as the Hammers finished up 2 points off the top 4. Manchester City's response to their derby defeat was to carve open Southampton. In a 5-2 win, Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne were the main agents of destruction, with 2 goals each as City went 14 points clear at the top. Match week 28 brought a big win for Burnley. The Clarets put 7 points between themselves and the relegation zone by beating Everton, who'd lost 5 of their last 7 at home in the league. City's progress was relentless. Sergio Aguero's first Premier League goal for 14 months helped them extend their lead at the summit to 17 points. A 3-0 loss for Fulham, who missed the chance to move out of the bottom 3, and were even more dismayed the following day to see Brighton take advantage. 2-1 winners at Southampton, the Seagulls re-established a 3-point cushion by inflicting Saints' 10th defeat in their last 12 league outings. Paul Heckingbottom stepped into the breach for Sheffield United following Chris Wilder's departure. In charge for the rest of the campaign, things could only improve after Leicester sliced up the Blades. Kelechi Iheanacho claimed his first ever Premier League hat-trick in a 5-0 win that moved the Foxes temporarily up to second.
Arsenal against Tottenham, always billed as a box office clash. But one of the headline acts didn't last long as Spurs suffered a hamstring injury to Heung-min Son. But his replacement was a more than capable fella. He's got a Rabona in his locker, that Eric Lamela.
Lucas Moura makes it up for Lamela, through a crowd of legs, and Tottenham against a run of play. Strike first. Here's Ødegaard, and there's the equalising goal. Arsenal back on level terms. Here's Lacazette. Brilliant challenge. No penalty. Mistimed on Lacazette. And Arsenal are going to have the chance from the penalty spot. Alex Lacazette has a very good record from 12 yards. What can he do here? Rolls it in with aplomb. Arsenal have turned this around.
North London on the verge of turning red as Arsenal stars got in Eric Lamela's head. A second yellow card as the Spurs goal scorer was sent off, leading to a result that Mourinho would have to write off.
North London is red again. Delight for Mikel Arteta. Frustration for Spurs. Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1.
A crunch clash at the Amex Stadium for the two clubs directly above the relegation zone. Brighton turned on the style to beat Newcastle 3-0, going 6 points clear of the bottom three and leaving the Magpies in the mire. United's 2-point cushion meant Fulham were far too close for comfort. West Ham continued to impress, 3-0 up against Arsenal and flying, until the Gunners clipped their wings, mounting a marvellous comeback to head home from the London Stadium with a draw. At the end of March, Manchester City were out in front by 14 points, making the game in hand held by all their rivals more or less immaterial. United, Leicester and Chelsea completed the top four as Liverpool looked on enviously from 7th. Sheffield United, West Brom and Fulham remained in the bottom three. Only Scott Parker's side appeared to have much chance of saving themselves, with Newcastle United squarely in their sights.
London's West End is famous for its theatres and drama, served up in April's matinee performance at Stamford Bridge, which turned out to be one of the best shows in town.
It's Marcus Alonso, lovely shape off the post, and tucked in by Christian Pulisic, his first goal under Thomas Tuchel.
Just minutes after the Blues scored, defender Thiago Silva picked up a second yellow card. A goal down and a man up, West Brom saw the opportunity to take advantage.
We go and play Chelsea with not a lot of fear, because apart from the West Brom fans, everybody else in the country will think we're just going to lay down and die, which we won't.
Johnston and Matthias Pereira, he's in behind, loops it over Mendy, and West Brom are level against the 10 men of Chelsea. Oh, that's beautiful. Matthias Pereira has done it again in no time at all. And West Brom have turned the game around. Oh, West Bromwich Albion are taking the game away from Chelsea. Callum Robinson. Townsend pulls it back. West Brom 4-1 up at Stamford Bridge. A scoreline beyond their hopes or expectations. But here's Alonso. A low ball across, must be Werner. Surely lays it back. A goal back for Chelsea. And Mason Mount makes it 4-2 now. And they're in again. This could be 5. It is 5, right at the end, Callum Robinson. West Brom can still believe. And Sam Allardyce will still feel that his side can avoid the drop. They've beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge by 5-2.
In their first match since announcing that club record goalscorer Sergio Aguero was to leave at the end of the season, Manchester City continued their march toward the title, beating third-place Leicester City 2-0. After Chelsea's shock defeat by West Brom, Liverpool saw an opportunity to force their way into the Champions League chase. A 3-0 thrashing of Arsenal took the Reds to 5th, just 2 points behind the Blues. West Ham United climbed into the Champions League spots thanks to another outstanding performance by Jesse Lingard. The Hammers' 3-2 winners against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Their fans began to dream of European football.
Guardiola credits Bielsa as one of the biggest influences on his coaching career. But could the Argentine's philosophy delay the inevitable this year?
Here's a threat potentially. Elder Costa has set it for Bamford, and Bamford for Dallas! And Leeds have snatched the lead! That is a marvellously crisp hit from Stuart Dallas for Leeds United.
A wild challenge saw Liam Cooper dismissed just before half-time, but what followed from Leeds was nothing short of sublime.
Bernardo Silva, Torres! Finally they picked their way through, a moment that has felt inevitable. Dallas is dashing through the middle here for Leeds. He wouldn't, would he? Stuart Dallas! That's astonishing! The ultimate steal! How have they gone and done that? There will not be a win like this win again this year or many years. City dumbfounded. Marcelo Bielsa, embraced by a bamboozled Pep Guardiola, has seen his 10 Leeds heroes win on the ground of the would-be champions. City 1, Leeds 2.
Liverpool ended a run of 6 consecutive defeats at Anfield. The Reds beat Aston Villa 2-1 thanks to Trent Alexander-Arnold's stoppage-time winner. Alain Saint-Maximin's introduction in the second half at Turf Moor was the spark Newcastle United had been missing. The Frenchman provided an assist for the equaliser and scored the all-important winner to move the Magpies 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Jesse Lingard was on the scoresheet again, netting for the 8th time in 9 games since joining West Ham on loan in January. The Hammers held 4th place following the hard-fought 3-2 victory over fellow Champions League hopefuls Leicester.
In North London, with just 1 win in 5, pressure was building on the special one. Jose Mourinho claimed that Tottenham under him would challenge for the title. But with Spurs down in 7th, a win against United was vital.
Kane and Lucas Moura and Son Heung-min, and that is a beautifully executed Tottenham goal. Fernandes, Fred, Rashford, Fred, Cavani, and Fred! And Manchester United are level at the end of some gorgeous rat-a-tat football. Greenwood, here's Cavani! Manchester United have the lead! He thrust himself in like he meant it. Pogba dancing away from Højbjerg, finding Mason Greenwood. And Mason Greenwood rifles Manchester United to 3 certain points. It's another really super goal. Well, he who laughs last, laughs longest. Manchester United, a laughing stock when Spurs hit them for 6 in October, have come down to London now and put the record straight in style. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 3.
Arsenal were back on track. They made short work of Sheffield United, winning 3-0. That left the league's bottom club 18 points adrift. It looked likely that one more defeat would confirm their relegation to the Championship. Harry Kane rescued a point for Tottenham in a 2-2 draw with Everton. 3 days later, with Spurs in 7th place, the club announced that Jose Mourinho had been sacked after 17 months in charge. Just 6 days later, Tottenham would appear in the EFL Cup final against Manchester City. Sheffield United's relegation was confirmed after Willian José's first ever goal for Wolves proved to be the match winner. With 6 games still to play, this equalled the Premier League record for the earliest relegation. There was disturbing news in the month of April when plans for a new European Super League were announced. The owners of 12 major European clubs had agreed to join the breakaway competition. Premier League sides Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal had joined forces with some of the European elite to create a new format to rival the Champions League. Under the proposals, the 12 founding clubs would never be relegated regardless of results. The idea was condemned by the Premier League, UEFA and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Fans at all levels of the game were furious, but the plans later fell apart.